Regan Slaymaker for Solar&StorageXtra, and I have the pleasure to be joined by Daisy Cross, the Head of Future Retail Markets for Energy UK. Daisy, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. I mean, if it looks like I am stuck in a kitchen, I am. That's where this booth is. But yeah, no, pleasure to have you on this interview with Solar&Storage Extra. Great to have you confirmed for Solar and Storage Live London. But before we get into all of that, I thought we could start with kind of what you do at Energy UK and kind of what Energy UK do to contribute to the energy space.
Sure. So I work for Energy UK, which is the main trade body for the energy sector. So we represent energy sector companies across a wide range of things. So from those leading on modernising and decarbonising the energy system to sort of those developing products and services for customers. So I'm one of the policy experts in the small but high impact team focusing on the retail market. So we work closely with industry and government to solve problems facing customers and offer up sector expertise to help with new legislation and sort of new rules and regulations that are coming in. So sustainable, affordable energy sector is our goal. And I think the key way of getting there is a stable environment which drives investment.
Perfect. Obviously, before we jump, or maybe I might be jumping a few questions ahead here, but kind of you mentioned kind of the challenges that face kind of making it affordable for the customer. But what challenges are being faced for that to be for the energy sector to be as affordable for the customer as possible?
Well, as everyone is aware, we've had a volatile gas price in the last few years. So Russia's invasion of Ukraine was a key part of that. So we have been, like suppliers and customers have been experiencing very high prices. Things are sort of looking to stabilise, but obviously gas price is subject to geopolitical issues, so will always be volatile to some extent. So a key way of managing that is to sort of move towards electrification more, so electrification of heat, transport, and that will require upgrades to the grid essentially. So we'll have to do a combination of things. So we'll have to, as a customer or as a business, use less, but also shift our usage, sort of transition over to electricity, but at the same time shift our usage to more off-peak times.
Perfect. I think that might lead into kind of my next topic point. Obviously, you are speaking at Solar and Storage Live London. Great to have you on board. On the panel titled kind of what further reforms need to be made to the retail energy market in the UK. I think electrification might be a big part of that, but we'll start off kind of what is the retail energy market for those that don't know?
So the retail market is the hub of interactions between the market and the customer. So the retailer or the suppliers, as we call them, they will buy electricity and gas off the market and then package that up for the customer, roll into that costs of things like the network charge, and also various other policies and benefits like smart meter rollout, energy efficiency policies, that kind of thing. So package it all up so it's easy for the customer to sort of understand and engage with their supply. But that's really going to become ever more critical when we're looking at sort of the flexible market of the future, because you'll be able to access more time of use tariffs. So yeah, in the middle of the day, at the moment, a typical day in terms of a customer's usage is use more in the morning and in the evening. So you've got these two spikes. And really what we want to do is level those spikes off so they don't go as high, because every time you've got a spike that goes high, you have to draw on backup generation. And the idea is in the future, so we're going to have more and more renewable energy on the grid, which is cheaper and cleaner. And there will be some sort of backup generation, like gas power stations, and you want to turn them on less. So the fewer of those big spikes you've got, the less likely it is you're going to have to turn them on, essentially. So
Perfect. I think
that's going to require us to use our energy at different times, and a supplier is a critical part of that because they're going to incentivize you to use at different times. So, for example, there are already products out there that if you charge your car overnight, you pay much less than if you were charging in the morning or the evening.
Definitely. I think that was my next question, kind of what is in place for prices so they don't get too high. You mentioned their kind of B2G, just mentioned their kind of time of use tariffs. So those technologies and tariffs molded around the consumer, they're very important to keeping those prices low and stopping those spikes, as you've just said.
Yeah, so I suppose the way that customers can control their bills at the moment is by using less and getting a better understanding of what they're using. And smart meters are quite important for that. But then fundamentally, the price per unit is going to be a key thing. So at the moment, there is a price cap that's been in place for some time. There's been a lot of press around the price cap. So if you're on a fixed tariff and you roll off it, it's what we call the standard variable tariff. So it's an out of contract rate, and Ofgem defines the optimal level of that. So they determine what they think the cost of that is to the supplier, like a cost reflective lens is put on it, and then that is, so it's a unit rate. So it's not a capped amount. It's an amount per unit. So if you use loads and loads of gas or electricity, your bill's going to be high. If you use hardly any, it's going to be low. This is about the price per unit, which some people get confused by, because it is fundamentally quite confusing as a sector.
I mean, you couldn't have put it better myself. Well, I couldn't anyway. Anyway, obviously, you mentioned kind of electrification there. This leads on to my kind of next question. But I imagine the retail energy market of the future, that's what it looks like. Obviously, managing that kind of mass amounts of electricity going into the sector.
Yeah. So as I say, we want to the more we electrify our usage, so the more electricity we use versus gas, the less volatile prices will be. Also, depending on how you generate that electricity, it's lower carbon. There are things, so one of the benefits of gas is it's easy to store, whereas electricity isn't currently. So improvements to electricity storage is going to be really critical as well, both at the grid level, but also at the customer level. So yeah, agree. Electrification is going to be really important, but it's going to be a challenge as well.
Perfect. And kind of, I think we just touched on it there. I feel like it's kind of a big issue in the solar and storage space. That level of kind of grid infrastructure and innovations in grid infrastructure. Those improving leads to kind of the energy market of the future, right?
Yeah. So a key thing is going to be flexibility. So storage is part of that. Renewable sources, being able to obviously generate at different times and be able to store that to an extent. So you want people to use it when it's being generated for efficiency reasons, but acknowledge also that you're going to have to use off peak as well. So that's where storage comes in. And yeah, key part of that is going to be smart technology. So people having a smart meter and be able to shift their usage within the home. Some people are going to have solar panels or other sources of home generation, and the technology is already there to help them use that. So for instance, a colleague of mine has solar panels, and when the sun comes out, he puts his dishwasher on or his oven on or whatever, and he's very aware. He could also look at his app as well, but he looks out the window, he knows that he's going to be able to save money if he does that. So that's obviously the way we want to go. And yeah, customers being able to access those technologies is going to be really critical. So I think that's going to be a challenge, both helping people understand what they can access, supporting them in accessing that, because obviously there's an upfront cost to a lot of this technology. So a supplier might be able to package in things like, they're already doing this, like heat pumps into the actual tariff itself, so be paid off over a longer period of time, and it's all sort of rolled in together rather than having to do loads more admin and dealing with the heat pump side of things. you've got half hourly settlement coming in a few years, so that's the electricity settlement side of things. So at the moment, things are done on forecast, but when we move to a half hourly system, that's going to release the sort of more like a bigger differential, and you'll be able to potentially pay a lot less for off peak as a result of that. And yeah, hopefully spread your usage throughout the day, which will help with the peaks and troughs I was talking about earlier. So really, it's all the system work. The smart energy system works a bit like, so if you used a sat nav to get to work or somewhere today, the data is being used through the app. The app is optimizing the data and giving you the best route based on the information that's going into it. You don't need to use a sat nav, you could use a map, but a sat nav is the most efficient way of doing it. So really it's definitely something that EnergyUK is very positive about, is the sort of using smart for the flexible system of the future.
Definitely, and obviously get down to your speaking position at Daisy's speaking position at Solar and Storage Live London to obviously learn more about kind of what you do and what EnergyUK is doing as well. But we've breezed through my questions, Daisy. Thank you again for giving me your time today. But where can people find you at Solar and Storage Live London to kind of discuss everything to do with yourself and EnergyUK?
So yeah, I'll be speaking on the panel that you mentioned earlier, but yeah, I'll be really interested to hear more from people about home storage, that kind of thing. Just be really interested to hear people's forecasts about what the future might look like, what the commercials look like, and any particular technologies that are going to be really useful in future.
Perfect. Well, you heard Daisy. Make sure you get down Solar and Storage Live London, April the 29th to the 30th as well. Daisy, that was my final question. Thank you again for giving me your time today, and see you at Solar and Storage Live.
Thank you.